I got such a building down. I was on my hands and knees. I didn't think I was gonna live. So I don't expect it. You can't get out of her grandfather made. Pardon? But no, I guess. We will. Pardon?
Hey, Cliff, what's your address out there? So that's it. Okay.
I expect him to go.
No, it was the beginning, it would have been the beginning of the season. I remember we.
That would have been.
He will justify it.
Right, but it's. Michael, I remember.
I got up real early. Because all of the folks got the job. Well, that's what
So we were behind our people, but we really did, didn't we? Because I could have got quite a few this time. We have more opportunities. There's still activities in the activity center.
He's still on.
So we still have nothing. I want to show you. She's over at, she can tell you that. So,
I looked at those every morning, looked at those. Yeah.
yeah, it's on here. I don't recall that being the name of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a good piece of equipment. Yeah, it is. I saw them go on the show. They go from 115 years. They can turn that away for 60. Wow. It's really
The work, though,
Well, those are still, they're almost still.
it was much fun with that.
Good. The excavator.
that's one that, the one that Karen.
Call the meeting to order. Karen, would you do a roll call, please?
Vanessa Arthur Westervelt.
Here.
Lucas Stansberry.
Here.
Bill Houston.
Present.
Dara Westhoff.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Bill, would you do the invitation, please?
Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to serve the citizens of Girard. Pray that you bless the city, bless its employees. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion for acceptance of the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have public forum. Stuff we have Melissa Rhodes.
Hi, Melissa Rhodes, and I'm running for Ken Collins's position for the House of Representatives, which is District 2, which is Girard and most of Crawford County. The reason I'm here is I just kind of want to introduce myself. It's going to be a long run, but I think one of the things that probably I stand out with is I'm also a USDA grant administrator. So then when we're talking about a position in Topeka, I'm already kind of on that inside track as far as community block development grants, kind of know what they're looking for and the terminology that they want. I just want your guys' help to put me there so then I know what to listen for. We just found out yesterday that it's more than likely that Bourbon County is getting a nice big reservoir. Probably a lot of people around here don't know that, but it just went through the Senate yesterday. But I would like to be your next representative. Do you guys have any questions?
What types of grants have you written?
I have not written any grants. The reason I did grant administration was I have done economic development in ARMA. Right now, we probably have about $700,000 worth of new bills going up. 3 of them are in the process of closing in. 3 of them are finished. And that's a lot of growth for ARMA in the last 18 months. I got involved with community block development because I wanted to know what was available to our community and what we needed to do. And as a grant administrator, I'm able to turn those applications in 3 months prior to their due date. So then they're able to be edited by the 3 people that make those decisions on who gets the grants. I also attend all of the community block development grant trainings and Center of Economic Development that comes out of Wichita State that projects what we can anticipate happening in Southeast Kansas. I represented the city of ARMA on the Chamber of Commerce, the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, which kind of opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't know. And also as community block development training, industry doesn't just come to your community. There's a list and there's a protocol, and a lot of people in smaller communities don't understand what that protocol is and how to get involved in that to put yourself, your community in a situation that they will be picked by industry. And that's also included with rural housing development. You need to be shovel ready and you need to be ready to go. So you have to be on the Topeka list. And the people in the Department of Commerce will help you get on that list. It's a year-long process. And those are the things I find out when I go to trainings.
Okay.
So there's a lot that we can do, especially the next 2 years is going to be big for rural Kansas because Governor Kelly has made her focus rural Kansas. And I don't know if you guys have seen this in your community yet, but we have an influx of people coming to Southeast Kansas from the coast. Pittsburgh we have a lot of people coming down from Kansas City. Pittsburgh just built, well, Pittsburgh didn't build it, but they helped. The development that's on 4th Street out by the high school for 55 and over. Well, 55 and over retirement are the demographics that you want in your community because your community is measured by the education level in your community, how much money they make, how many are retired with retirement income. And when you are putting in for grants, they're looking at that and they're pulling it off your census. And our new census numbers are coming out in April. So when you start looking at grants for next year, you're going to be going off the information that you have for this that's going to come out in April on our census. And then in about 5 or 6 years, you're going to get another one because that information gathering just went out. But those are the things that I have learned that I want to bring to a position of representation in Topeka so we aren't bypassed. And I've said it, and I can say it because I'm a stepchild and I have red hair. I don't want Southeast Kansas to be the redheaded stepchildren of Kansas because there are plans in the works. I was on the Highway 69 Association for a while we were talking with the state and making presentations to the State Department of Transportation. I've also been on Crawford County COVID Task Force. So there are some connections that I've made, some circles that I've stayed in.
Okay.
So Southeast Kansas got it going on.
Okay. Thank you.
So, but I need your guys' help. It's going to be, I don't think it's a political party thing. I'm people over politics, but I am a registered Democrat in a predominantly Republican position, community area. So it's going to be getting people to switch over. If they vote straight Republican, they'll mess me. And I'd like to be there for Girard to see some growth in Southeast Kansas. We need it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on the next three, we're probably going to wait till the end of the meeting where you can talk to the council members, myself, and stuff on
Yeah.
what you need for your project.
Yeah, council members, we got the PSU nursing students here, so hang out. They have an assignment to talk to you and interview you about projects, so if you would please stay after the meeting so these good folks can get their credit for classes, they would greatly appreciate that.
Now, moving on to regular business. Item A, appoint Susie Chaffee to the Girard Public Library Board to fill unexpired term of Faye Anderson to expire April 30th, 2026.
Have any information about it?
It's just requested by the library director.
Mr. Mayor, a motion we appoint Susie Chaffee to the Girard Public Library Board to fill the unexpired term of Faye Anderson to expire April 30th, 2026.
I can provide you a little, I don't know her, but the board meets quarterly, I believe. I've been before the board to discuss an issue they had. They're part of the city. They meet and make sure the library runs well, and if there's any issues, they make us aware, but we rarely hear from them. And so it's a very low-key board, and I don't know that there's any issues with them. Seem like good folks.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, review roof quotes, Civic Center and City Hall.
I understand the council has questions about the roof quotes from the last meeting.
I think the question was that they weren't put out on an open bid situation.
I was never told they required that. We are always required to have 3 bids. I did put it out to multiple construction crews. A lot of them didn't call back, so we just went with the 2 that we had.
Terry, I think some of the questions about it were the warranty. That was definitely one. One was kind of included for a certain amount of time and purchased afterwards. So my questions were, which one more beneficial or which one's better value with purchasing those extra warranties?
Both warranties were about the same from the company itself for the contractors that were doing it. But with one of the bids, it comes with an additional warranty for up to 20 years for an additional price, which was not much for the size of roofs we have. I've gone back through paperwork for this building, and I have not found any paperwork for a new roof on this building, and this building was built in '64.
And that's
So,
the Civic Center or this?
No, this is this one. That one was redone in early 2000, but there was never a roof put on that one. It was just the inside that was redone.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the other one. And I mean, it would be nice to know how long we think the roof is actually gonna be there before we replace it, because you kind of get a time frame when you're building a house, how long you think a roof will last. What are they saying for the flat roof?
About 25 to 30 years is the longevity you're getting out of them.
Okay, so it would behoove us to buy that extended warranty to cover that 20 years.
I would, for the price that they're offering it, for that small of a price, I would. If it was my building, I would.
So you're recommending it?
Yes.
How many square foot are you talking?
This one's about, right around, I think there was 3,400 square foot on this one. And then that one over there was, I think, 1,000, 1,100.
By the way, my math was wrong last week.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
I know
I wasn't going to admit it till 2 weeks later.
I've got
That's all right.
posted here on their stuff, and it shows 8,320 square feet here
Okay.
and
That's what you
3,200
gave me
on
the other
that.
day.
I don't know. I got a lot of numbers in my head.
That's what you gave me.
And then
That's what we need
3,200 for
I
the
can remember.
community center.
Okay.
Which,
That the whole building, not just.
yeah. And are these prices you've got on here, is that for the extended warranty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what prices did I put?
I think I calculated it
Okay.
and put it on there.
Okay, I think I just gave the square footage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
city-
it's a
Yeah.
minimum of, I think, $600.
It
Yeah.
was.
So,
And they have,
Because I think it was $7 per 100 square foot.
yes. I think they've got, so notice it's got the minimum 600 and then 582.40 on City Hall, 224 on the Civic Center, but then, like you said, there's a minimum, I guess, on
Right.
600 for the warranty.
Is that combined building 600 or each?
No, that's each building. They'll have their own warranty on them.
Right. So then, what was it on the other one doing?
for the warranty,
I think
they're both would be
On
600
600
each.
each.
No, the other company.
Oh.
Theirs is just flat out 5 years.
Okay, they don't offer any extended. Those are kind of questions. we were
And
trying
the
to-
other company actually gave us 2 bids for each building.
Mhm.
One was for a rubber roofing and one was for an acrylic roofing. They're all pretty much identical. It's just a different product they're using.
Mhm.
And their warranties were 5 years.
No matter which surface they use.
No.
And Lucas had a question last week.
Mhm.
Would it behoove us to put on sloped roofs at any given time rather than the flat roofs?
To do a slope roof on this building, it would be understandable on a major renovation because these roofs, this one has a parapet around it, and that one, the one next door, has 3 5-ton air handlers on top, which would have to be moved to the ground. All the air ducts would have to be moved. Masonry work would have to be done to get the ducting through the wall. We would need more real estate over there.
Be no good.
And here we have air conditioners, antennas, all the roof drains are in the center, which that's no big deal when you put a sloped roof on it, but you're going to be rerouting all the guttering and have to put it out back. And
Right.
yeah, and that'd be an engineer coming in to engineer
That
the
comes with
trusses
the new
because
city
of the
hall,
parapets, and that'd be a pretty good expense.
I understand. It was just an inquiry that we had last
I
week.
understand.
Kind of wanted to cover it. So to me, it looks like Mid-America. Anybody else? Warranty is Mid-America. What does that,
Is that
Mr.
your
Mayor, what does that put our,
Mid-America?
what does that put our total at?
Okay, with the warranty on Mid-America on the Civic Center, it'd be $15,387 with the warranty.
Mhm.
And on City Hall, it would be $38,675 with the warranty.
Sounds like we may never had any roof put on this building that we're in.
No, I've been up there a couple times, and this roof is,
Rough.
yeah, it's in rough shape.
So
It's a
we're lucky
wonder
we made it this long.
when it rains, we're not standing outside.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we accept the bid from Mid-America Roofing, one for the Civic Center in the amount of $15,387 to include the warranty, and the second to be on the City Hall building in the amount of $38,675 with the warranty.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Item C, possible approval of resolution 2024-04 regarding surplus property from storm sirens.
This is regarding the storm sirens that we discussed at our last meeting. They're wanting to donate one to a youth, and then the other will just be surplus so they can scrap it or whatever they want to do. This is the first step to that. It's a resolution.
I think the fire chief talked to us about that last meeting.
Yes, he
Right.
did.
Do we have to surplus them both and then?
Yes, so in the resolution, it shows that one is being surplus to sell with sealed bids to be accepted before the next meeting. The other one is stated that it will be donated. I didn't put a name because it is a youth, so I just put to a youth in Girard, Kansas. So I'll be happy to change that.
No,
If
let's
needed.
leave his name out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to approve resolution 2024-044 regarding surplus property of storm sirens.
1 second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, USDA project updates. Stainless steel mile, first mile out of the water treatment plant, and principal balances with internal financing. Or interim financing.
First off, we had intended originally to complete this project through two bid processes, one for the lines and one for the treatment plant. And the lines were going to be bid out, I believe Mickey usually remembers dates better than I do, sometime in spring or summer. USDA wanted it all bid out at the same time, so it has been moved to October, and that is contingent upon a 6-month KDHE review process. From what I have heard from other cities is that 6 months is what KDHE has been telling people, but they are behind, which
They are.
seems to be the case often. So October is our target date to bid it out, but that is completely contingent upon if KDHE reviews all the plans and has that review process completed by October. So it could be pushed out dependent on that.
I think we count on it. KDHE is understaffed and they have multiple cities who are doing this in some form or another.
I
Even in this
heard
county.
from City of Chanute that they're at 11 months, which is, I hope that does not happen.
We're at 2.5 years in another city on a sewer plant, so.
Okay. Well, that's, I guess that'll be for discussion later on. So what we have been doing, kind of how that impacts us a little bit, is that we are funding the pieces of the project that we have been doing early through our interim financing, because the USDA grant money and bond doesn't kick in till the project is substantially completed, meaning the construction part of it. So right now, we've purchased land, we've paid for some of the design engineering, and we went ahead and done some of the lines where there was construction going on over the lines. For example, the parking lot at Water Street Apartments, because if they would have put in that new parking lot and then we would have went it back in and tore it all up to put the new lines under, we would have been responsible for replacing it. So they are giving us those options, like when we need to, or just I contact USDA and I'm like, hey, we got this issue going on. Can we replace this now and get reimbursed for it later at the end of the project? So far, that has all been a yes, as long as it's not too significant of a piece of the project. So the last one I inquired about was a stainless steel mile, and I did that at the behest of our public works director because he said it's basically all clamps and it's leaking all the time. And so I started to get a little concerned at that point because the more stuff we put on the interim financing, the more interest we're paying. And Karen, I believe was our first quarterly payment $9,000.
Yes.
$9,000. So if we add the stainless steel mile onto that and we go ahead and bid that out, that's another piece of the project we'll be paying interest on with interim financing for potentially however long it takes KDHE to get our review process done and the project substantially completed. So anyway, the other thing I discussed with USDA was we do have a pretty, I would say, comfortable reserve balance in our water reserve funds. And I asked him, and I told him I would discuss it with council. Would you guys be open to maybe some kind of proposal where we pay down the interest or pay down the principal on the interim financing? So we're reducing the amount of interest we're paying over the life of the interim financing.
KDHE is okay with that.
USDA, yes.
USDA, sorry.
Yes. They said that my concern was if we went ahead and paid it with our reserve funds, they would say, oh, you obviously have the money to pay for that, so we'll take this off the grant portion of your award.
Right.
And he said, no, they could roll it all in. So I know Dan Fisher is the one I have been speaking to. He's not the one that usually handles these projects, but they had the person, Michael Billings, that did was promoted, and now there's a new person. So I do still want to go ahead and confirm that with the new person. Once I get their contact, they just started. So I'm really just asking, do you guys want me to ask? Are you interested in doing that, getting the stainless steel mile done now and maybe paying down the principal? Because if you are, I'll go ahead and start working on a proposal with USDA.
I think it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, because they're out there all the time repairing leaks, and the problem we have right now too,
Years, right?
I don't know if the rest of you are aware of it, but they're having an issue with getting these clamps.
Yes,
And
that
they've
was
come to the point to where you don't have the clamps to fix it.
that was another concern, and I forgot to bring that up. And that's a substantial concern. Because we have a leak and no clamps, we just have a leak. So if everybody's in agreement, I don't think I probably need a motion to start working on it. I just wanted to make sure before I
When we do it,
got
we
too
will
far
have
with
to formally.
USDA.
And how do you say you're gonna check on the financing, paying it down, the balance?
Yeah, that was Karen and I discussed this a couple of times, and we thought it would be a good idea. I think our balance just in the water reserve funds right now is about 400,000. And like I said, or Karen and I have discussed here, we're trying to get the audit done earlier this year. And those reserve funds, I just I calculate those based on the monthly financials, and sometimes the audit will affect that. But once that audit is done, I'll have a set number that we have in that reserve fund. But usually my number is pretty accurate. I mean, it's never been way off or anything. So I think that we could pay down potentially maybe $100,000 or 150 of the principal. And I have no clue how much the stainless steel mile will cost. But I mean, if we need it, and that's another thing I'll ask USDA too, is can Jackie do a scope of work and we'll send it out ourselves, or does the engineer need to do it? Those are all things I'll need to figure out, and then I could come back to you guys with maybe here's stainless steel mile, what we think it'll cost. Here's how much I think we can safely pay down the principal balance, and then just double check one more time with another USDA employee that it won't affect our grant award. So that's my plan if you guys are all in agreement.
Johanna, will they reimburse us for the interest we have to pay for the interim financing as well, or is that on us? So in other words, over the life of the
The
interim,
thing is with the interim financing, we did budget a certain amount for that, but with putting more of the project up front, like at year one instead of
Right.
year three when the construction was gonna happen, that's what I'm concerned about, because the way we scheduled it, there's more up front, so we'll have more interest. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, paying it down faster is better.
Okay, so I'll double check with all of those things we have spoke about, and maybe Jackie can start on a scope of work and get with our engineer about how we would bid that out. If we could just, cause with the Water Street apartments, we just did it on our own, didn't we?
Yeah, we probably have to, he's been doing the design engineer work out there
Okay,
for him. So he may have it already designed out
okay.
and would just be slicing that
And
piece off.
I kind of discussed it with our engineer as well too, Danny Coltrane, and he also thought it was a good idea to get the stainless steel mile done earlier if we could. So, okay, we'll keep working on all of that, and we'll probably bring it back to you guys as soon as we have some more answers. But that's what we would recommend doing.
Yeah, I think on his timeline, it says April 24 for the engineering design phase 1 to be done.
Mhm.
So that's like,
Once that's
months?
done, then it goes to KDHE. Then there'll be another 6 months till October, and then he wants to bid it out once it's reviewed. So he's on track to finish in April, last I heard. And then the part that we were concerned that might get delayed is the KDHE review process, which
Yeah.
apparently I'm not the only one that heard that they've been behind.
so his cost, Johanna, because that's a pretty significant cost. Would that be plus the stainless steel mile? Or-
I don't know exactly what you're looking at. But this,
you talking about the engineering fees for $1,600,000?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that will be up front towards the beginning of the interim financing as well. So what have we paid so far? Do you know, Karen, for design engineering for Coltrane Midwest? It's quite a bit.
It is quite a bit, but I don't know right off the top of my head.
Usually like design engineering and construction engineering, they're very close to a set percentage. And I would usually say around 10-11% of what the construction cost of the project is.
No.
No, this
What's-
one's Midwest, but I mean, Earl's even for the sidewalk project, because
I know it was.
Daryl asked me about it, remember?
Mhm.
And because
Oh,
I
yeah.
called him and double checked, but yeah, it's usually right around 10-11%.
Well, this
I think
says
that's-
pre-design was 23,500, and then engineering phase 1,
The
which is about
pre-design
over.
was probably the PER, and that's just the little document that they create describing the project, and it usually has a construction cost estimate in it. But once they get into the design, like phase 1, that's their maps and
Yep.
the environmentals and the things
So
that are going to
that's-
go to KDHE.
April 24th end date, it's 1.6 million.
Yes.
So would that be additional plus?
That would all go on the interim financing. That's why we're wanting to pay that down, because that $9,000 interest so far is just on that, the PER part you're talking about, the land we purchased, some lines that we already went ahead and did. So once we start adding all the engineering design and the stainless steel mile, it'll probably quadruple those.
What's the
Interest
interest rate?
Was it 7? Those are the local banks here. And we had the local banks do a proposal, and then I had written a grant for, I believe KDHE was the agency, and they had a interim financing program, which was only 3%, but it also knocked you into Buy America,
Right.
Build America, Buy America. Did I just say that right?
Mhm.
And Davis Bacon, which usually can increase the cost at the end for the construction piece up to 15 to 20%. So it's still, I mean, it actually kind of came out really, really, really close, just depending on how much of the costs were up front year 1 and how much were year 3. So we went ahead and went with our local banks, and that's kind of another reason we discussed maybe paying the principal down a little bit so we can avoid some of that interest cost.
And our local banks work with us. They came to the meeting and talked to us, yeah.
So if there's any other questions you guys have about that project, I'll try to keep you guys updated. I'll put this on the agenda every once in a while when we have new information and just let you guys know what's going on. And there'll probably just be little things like this where Karen and I and Jackie have an idea and we want to do it this way, but just run it by you guys first so that you guys know what's going on. And then as far as like paying down principal, that's something I would want a motion from you guys to do before we did it because it'd be a significant amount of money. Yes. And I think that's all I had to tell you guys on that one, unless you have anything else.
If there's no more questions on that, we'll move on to item E. Discuss golf course opening date, cart paths, employee training, and new software.
So we already went ahead and hired some employees for the golf course. We had 2 that were still active. So everyone on here plus 2 other people that are working at the activity center right now. The reason for we wanted to do it a little bit earlier this year is because if you've seen on your Dropbox, Kelly Adolph is recommending that we go with a new software system that tracks our point of sale system, basically. We had QuickBooks, I think, before. We've had some problems with it. And this new software will do a lot more for Kelly than what our QuickBooks did. And didn't we have to switch anyways because of the credit cards, Karen? Or we had something that didn't work with it. The new software that we got for City Hall doesn't do golf courses yet. So Kelly came in and I believe she sat down with Karen and they went over some different options. This is the one that Kelly decided on. But Kelly is going to be out of town, I think, for a couple weeks, and they have to do a training on the new software. So she wanted me to hire everybody early. So probably what will happen is they'll all work maybe 2 days this month and then not work again until we open the golf course, just to train on this software, which we would need a motion to approve the software tonight. And
Joanna, where's the software at?
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
did I get it uploaded correctly? Uh-oh, maybe I didn't. I might have to go do that real quick. It's not on informational, is it?
No.
It's sitting on my desk. You want me to go grab it?
Could
The
you-
other thing I wanted to talk about, cart paths. Jackie, I don't know if you have any updates.
No, it's just too wet. We haven't had a chance to start.
Yeah, it says member sport.
Finally getting almost dry enough on this little bit. We don't want to tear it up, tear it out.
But was the date on that April 1? Are we going to give them some weather?
We're not gonna make
delay
it by then, but
Okay.
because of the weather, but we'll work with him. He's been calling me regular.
So I wasn't sure on opening date because we're probably going to have construction out there. And I believe we usually try to open around spring break. Does that sound correct, Karen? I know I think
Yeah, I
we
think
tried
they
to
start
open it
men's
earlier.
league first part of April, don't they?
Usually it's 1st of March.
I think we did last year we did 1st of March and didn't make any money the first couple weeks because it was cold. I don't know if you guys want me to bring
That
it.
last year or the year before that.
It might have been the year before that we opened early.
But we thought it was a little too early because it's still a little too cold.
Yeah, because I made you guys a little chart with the weather, the temperature, and the revenue, and it was like under 52 degrees. We didn't really make anything. So I don't know. I guess I could bring it up again at the next meeting when we could check the weather forecast and maybe decide on an opening date or even the first meeting in March. Spring break's what the, you know, Lucas? What,
March 11th.
March 11th.
That'd be a good time to shoot for. The kids could all
We
be
could
training.
we could shoot for March 11th, and then if we do end up having a really good weather forecast, maybe open a little bit early.
You don't know.
I know.
It's the weather.
I think if we shoot for around that time frame, that the kids there, these high school kids would have opportunity to try the software and do all that during the day when they have good supervision.
That's a good point.
They could start with, with someone that knows what they're doing instead of being in there in the evening and not having any guidance.
I'm fine with that.
So even if they opened up that weekend before that.
Can't find that one,
Hey, Jackie, how long do they anticipate the cart paths taking? Or for that first phase?
It really depends on how fast we can get started and get ahead of them. It's gonna go fairly quickly because it's not a difficult pour. They're gonna be able to just leapfrog ahead of us. I don't have a time frame. I need to ask them.
How are they gonna get concrete on the course?
They're just gonna have to, we gave them 2 points to come in and out, and then they're gonna have to go right beside the trail.
On the west
Cart
side,
path.
probably,
Pardon?
the west side of the trail,
Which side?
west side,
West side. I guess I still can't hear you.
west. It'd be on the west side of the trail,
The part
where they put the concrete trucks.
I think.
Because if you go on the other side, you're gonna be in the fairways.
Yeah,
on
I
Number
would
2.
think, yeah.
So you'd want to be on the west side of the cart path,
Right.
between the
And so
path
we're-
and the cable
Right.
fence on 2. Otherwise, you're gonna tear up the fairways, and
Yep, we don't want to do
that's
that.
expensive.
That's the reason we're kind of waiting on a little bit dry for even what we're gonna put in. I mean, we haven't even started tearing anything out yet. I can imagine when we tear it out, we're gonna try to tear it out to a point where people can at least get through before they get started.
Mhm.
I'm hoping boom, 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 they're gonna be right behind us.
You can always send them around when you get to the bridge.
Well, some of that's already cement, so.
Yeah, some of it is.
So we're not gonna have a big problem there. Because I think if I remember right, it starts cement, moves to the bridge and cement for a short section on each side.
Mhm.
So we'll sit there and talk all that out here in a week or so. Hopefully,
Hopefully it dries up for you.
yeah, it was getting pretty close. But they're gonna be 80,000-pound trucks, so we have to play their game.
Hey, you wouldn't want to wheelbarrow it.
Pardon?
You wouldn't want to wheelbarrow it.
Just gonna mix one bag at a time next to the trail. Is that it, Steve?
So it's a 9-page small print document.
My favorite.
There's no way I can read this in 5 minutes and tell you what I think. So if you want to give me some time, I can try to read it and maybe we can talk about it at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I should all be able to see it now too. Should be 2024, 2011. I didn't rename it. It's just the scan name. It's mostly just legal jargon for the agreement though.
I need to read it.
Which was in the regular?
Yes. Can you see it? Are you kidding?
I'll see it. Let me close it and get back in it.
Yeah, you might have to start over on Dropbox.
It doesn't have to be something we decide on.
We can have Steve review it and bring it back up at the end of the meeting.
Would you give me a little time?
And then when we go to executive session, I can run in my office and try to upload it again if it didn't work.
Don't see it.
It's not there.
Might be sitting in Wi-Fi space. Let's bring that back.
After the executive session. Okay.
Do you want me to scan it while you're in executive?
I've already got it scanned. I can try. Yeah, you can if you want me to get it from your side.
Is that the only copy? Do you have it in your folder? I don't think I can get to
uploaded it
your
on,
folder.
it's on my scans folder for February 1st.
Okay.
So we're gonna do all of it at the end then?
Let's bring
The
that
whole-
I don't think I need anything else at this time. I don't think I need motions for anything else. I was just wanting to also give updates on that and get you guys thinking about an opening date. And March 11th is fine. I can, if you guys want to make a motion for March 11th now, I'm good with that. Or if you want to wait and do it.
I'd say you probably need to speak with Kelly and see what her staff has planned. I mean, personally.
I like the idea that starting.
You know, we've got
before the
another
kids are in
meeting in
school.
this month anyhow.
Yeah, so we have time.
Right. She might want it like a day before that or something. She might want to train the day before that. Just a refresher.
Okay, this time we'll move on to item F, discuss sidewalk project.
This is a CDBG project that we received a $600,000 grant for. The city portion is $200 and some $1,000. There was one important piece that I wanted to ask you guys about that I discussed with the engineers on Thursday, because we did a walkthrough of the sidewalks that we're going to do in town. One of the big questions was I had asked if they had included money in the construction piece to do people's driveways from the sidewalk to the road, because I know on some projects we have done that and some projects we haven't. I actually talked to her about an hour before the meeting. She gave me a call and she looked, and we did include that cost into the cost estimate. She said she's going to have to go through and look and see if she included enough money for that item. But if she hadn't included it, I was going to ask you guys if that was something you wanted me to try to find the money to do or not. But it is included, so I'll probably just have to wait and see if she budgeted enough for that item. The other issue was the only one we really had a big question on. One was Prairie Street, which we walked through, but it actually isn't even included on this phase, so we don't need to talk about it yet. The big one is Orange Street from Western to the pool. Actually, it goes a block east of the pool, I believe. But on Orange Street, on the side of the road that the sidewalk will go on, it will take out some homeowners' trees that are in the right of way. They're really pretty trees. And so we discussed either flip-flopping that to the other side of the road or taking out the trees and maybe offering to plant a couple new trees. I don't know. It's not something we need to decide on today, but it would be nice if you guys in your free time could take a drive down Orange Street and take a look at that. If we
Which block is that?
starts at Western and goes
To the east?
yes, and then once it gets to the
Look,
pool,
Yeah.
it jogs over to the side of the pool and goes down again. It actually, there's no sidewalk on the block by the pool, but when you get to the Orange Street after the pool, it goes another 2 blocks. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, 2 blocks up to
So-
Summit.
Yes, and the sidewalk, where it's at now is on the north side of Orange Street. But like I said, on between Western and, is that Clover?
Yes.
If we put it on the north side, it's gonna take out some landscaping and some nice trees on one individual's property. And then once we get to the east of the pool, I've got 2 homeowners put up fences that they would have to move. So there's issues no matter which side we put it on. I don't know if you had an opinion, Jackie, or Cliff was with us too. And Cliff's the one that's brought up the possibility of replacing their nice trees with some pin oaks or something nicer, or just moving to the other side. What was the issue on the other side? Was it the same thing, also trees, or was it the drainage?
I think it's the drainage and
What-
water line.
It was drainage and water line. Okay, so no really great options. Water line is on the south side, and on the north side, some people have some trees and fence.
Do you guys happen to talk to the owner or?
Not yet. We looked up their address and their name, and I asked department heads. Nobody knows the individual, so that's fine. Phone number, go to their house and talk to them about it. So we can do that in the meantime too. Yeah, Terry can go talk to him.
So maybe they don't like trees, who knows?
I don't know. Their yard looks really pretty, but yeah.
Optimistic.
It's been an issue in the past, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
In the
I'm sure.
catalpas, there was, on the east side of the pool, there was like 4 catalpa trees that would get taken out, but they didn't think that would be as much of an issue. And then, but then on the north side, it looks like somebody put their shed into the right of way. Yes, so there's gonna be issues either way. I couldn't tell if it had a concrete pad under it or not. Do you
It's like
remember?
carport type.
Yeah.
So it could be moved.
I thought it looked like it had a concrete pad, but I wasn't sure. I didn't walk up there and look.
Where's that
Just east
Which
of
street?
the pool,
Which
Orange,
street? Okay.
or Ricky Bennett Way. I think, does it turn into Ricky Bennett Way right there? So, anyways, I'd really like it if you guys would drive down that, see what you think, because we're gonna need to make a decision on that. In the meantime, I can probably have Terry get with a couple of the homeowners, let them know what's going on, and so we can consider their opinions as well.
Shoot some pictures. You know,
Drive through
Yeah,
there
I'll
every
have
day.
Terry do that too.
that way we kind of know what we're dealing with before we, all the issues rather than just this and that.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have done Magnolia or one of the streets a couple blocks down. But they didn't, and that was the one with the grant that wanted the pools and residential areas and schools and library.
Are we doing the street next to where the tennis court, by your road,
Yes.
by that church? Are we doing that one? 'Cause
Is
it's
the
got-
map on there? There's 2 phases.
it's
I know
got-
they're doing by my house in front, because the library sidewalk ends right there, and then I think it ends again on Prairie. But they do have it from the skate park to the square, but I think we had a water line right under there, so we moved it to phase 2. So the ones that we knew we had a water line, we tried to keep on a phase 2 project, which we're probably still gonna have some issues with discovering that we're gonna have water lines under some of these sidewalks. So if this gets bid out early, this will be another thing that we'll try to replace the water line prior to the sidewalk project, and it will also go on interim financing. We're not to that point yet. I just emailed all the maps to the water line project engineer today. So trying to coordinate all these projects is gonna get kind of messy.
So they don't, they're going past the church.
I think that's on a phase 2 as
Okay,
well.
because that one has a really, and I don't think it's a sidewalk, I think
We
it's a
walked
driveway.
That
It's
one,
just mud.
I think I know what you're talking about, from on Forest past my house and then up to the skate park.
There, it goes straight through, so from the library, your house, the church, and it's in front of the church, and I think it used to be a driveway is why it's so bad, but like walking through there,
Okay.
it's just mud
Mhm.
for probably
That's in-
15 feet.
I don't know if that one's on this phase or not. I don't remember walking that side of the road. But that is one thing we discussed, that when you get to some of those spots where the sidewalk, or you have to cross over some of those ramp or driveways or whatever, that we can replace those as well. So we kind of just went through and looked at each one individually and like, does this one need it? Does this one need it?
Right, well, that church, I think it would benefit them, you know, obviously as a community,
I'm not sure if that one's on there or not.
having the church done, but like I said, right there, it's just mud. And then I've been walking a lot lately. I go and walk and pick up my son and do that stuff back and forth to school. And I try to walk where there are sidewalks, just because, you know, obviously in this wet weather that we're having. But there's some places that we still have.
I'd really like to say they did forest on the other side of the street that would lead to the north side of the elementary school. Because we talked about doing a pedestrian bridge right there, or just doing the ramps to jog back over the Water Street Apartments, then back to Catholic Church. That pedestrian bridge, but then that makes the kids cross the street. Yes.
Yeah, and the school's really good about like,
Mhm.
hey, you're
Setting up
crossing
cones
here,
and, yeah.
and the teachers stand out there.
So that was a discussion, but I believe that's on phase 2.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that that church had a little attention because, you know, people that are trying to access it, you know.
Yeah, this one's just been kind of a weird one anyways, because we got a grant for the design piece and they kind of dictated where they wanted the sidewalks to be located. And then it was much bigger than the ones we're doing with this project. But some have lines. The grant was for $600,000, so we were wanting to do an $800,000 project. I think we had $2 million worth of sidewalks we wanted to get done on our plan, so we just phased it out. But that's where we're at with that. So I'll have Terry go take some pictures, maybe talk to the one homeowner. We were actually 3 homeowners, the 2 with the fence and the one with the landscaping and the trees. And then if you guys have some time, if you would maybe drive that street, make your own opinion about it, and then we'll discuss it later. That's what we'll have to discuss.
Be like, sorry, you gotta fix it. I mean, if it's something I think they get assistance with.
We even looked at maybe moving the sidewalk up closer to the road in those areas so that they wouldn't have to move their fence at all, but it would also cause issues with drainage. So it's either gonna be put it across the street or
Over here where the apartments are, so at the end of the school road, there's a White House there on the corner, and we actually went around the trees. Is that not an option at that location? You guys
that's
saw
what,
it?
that was the issue was the drainage, correct? If
Yeah,
they
you had
moved
to
it up too
factor
much
in the
further.
drainage.
Should go around
The
the
width,
trees.
you're wanting 5 feet, and so some places might have to cut it to 4, so there's a lot of little factors in there.
But, so it wasn't an option to go around the trees at that specific house?
We looked at it and then they said, what, I don't remember what they called it, Euclid, about putting a certain kind of drain in there. Because it would get the sidewalk too far into the ditch, is what their concern with the trees.
If I remember right, every one of them had a culvert. It was part of the problem.
If they didn't take out the trees and moved it forward, it caused issues with drainage. But the engineer was like, you could do, I don't remember what word it was, but I think it was culverts. But she had a fancier word for it.
Whistle? Okay.
Do you know the ones that we have like up by the bank? G&B Bank, like at the bump outs?
Oh, where
I
they
think that.
direct the
what it
water
was-
rather than being a culvert, they just kind of are
Yeah.
concrete, they just direct
Yeah.
the water.
She brought that up, but I can't remember which culvert. Channels. maybe?
Channels, yeah.
Not
I was
culverts.
wondering, since I know the apartment house has the sidewalk that's moved, and my son loves it, because like if you're riding a bike, you get to, you don't fall
I
asleep
know,
riding
and
a
it
bike.
actually looks nice. We kind of threw a little bit of a fit about that at first, being like, we need a straight sidewalk.
Right,
And the engineer was like, well, you're not gonna get one.
right.
And then it ended up looking nice and
It's
people liked
great.
it. So it wasn't that, it ended up not being that big of a
I think we
deal.
should make all.
But
of
yeah,
them
we
like
walked through all of them and Orange Street was the very last one we walked and they're like, we saved the easiest one for last. Yeah, cause this is a short
that. Short
job
span,
and then
was
it
hard.
ended up, yes, having all sorts of issues.
So if we do find water lines underneath some of these, do we have to notify the homeowners for those too? Is it-
I don't believe we have any right of way issues with any of these projects. The issue is like goodwill with the community. You don't want to tear up their stuff without replacing it, even if it is in the right of way, because they maintain it. That's just my opinion. You guys might have a different opinion.
I agree with that,
Okay.
because
So
it
to
happened
me-
on Walnut Street several years ago.
Yeah.
Electric line was taken through and all the trees were taken out with nobody said squat to anybody.
So that's what,
So
and
I'm very
usually
upset
how
people-
that works, like when we bid it out through a grant and we have an engineer involved, usually part of the bid package is that the contractor is the one who contacts every household and says, hey, you're gonna have construction at this time from this time and this is what's gonna happen. But I think in a situation like this one where we walked it and there's clearly gonna be some conflicts with the right of way and what people have done with their right of ways, I think that's why I'm bringing it up right now. Have you guys drive it, we can have Terry take some pictures, we can contact some of the homeowners and get everybody's opinions and try our best to get new sidewalks without, yes,
I just know the water project's coming up too, and there's gonna be a lot of work.
yes, it's gonna be awful. I don't wanna sugarcoat any of that, but once we start replacing water lines, it's not gonna be that fun. But once it's done, it'll be worth it.
Okay, let's move on to item G. Possible update on 2-week notice policy when you're
That
terminating employment.
one's pretty self-explanatory. We just put that you have to work your last day worked, and if you give your 2 weeks, you're not gonna take sick time the entire 2 weeks without a doctor's note.
So you must work the last day of leave.
Mhm.
You have to work the last day period. You have to work the last day of leave.
Last day period, last day, like if your last day would be the 20th, you have to actually work the 20th.
Right, but
You
it says
can't-
last day of leave. So it wouldn't be of leave, you just have.
Of
to
your
work.
notice,
Right,
last
so
day of
the
your
wording-
notice, so that's right, that needs to be changed.
Wording needs to be changed
But
on it.
in a sick leave, you're not gonna turn in your 2 weeks notice and then say, I'm sick for the next 2 weeks without a doctor's note. Like they still could use it, but if, just during that period, you'd have to have doctor's note. And the thing with our 2 week notice is, if you guys don't recall, because it was a long time ago we wrote that, but if an employee puts in their 2 week notice, then we pay out more of their vacation. Like if they quit,
Give notice.
yes, if they don't give notice, then they're not eligible for some of those things. If they give appropriate notice, give us time to replace them. But then the issue becomes sometimes they'll put in their 2 week notice, but take off sick the whole time.
Because sick is forfeited.
Yes,
Correct.
because sick is forfeited. So we want to get away from that because a lot of times when we have an employee resign, there's some things we want to get done with them before they leave, whether it's learning some of the aspects of their job
A little
that they were responsible for, yes. So it's not that major of a change to the personnel policy, but it will beef up the 2 week notice policy, I think, to help out some of our department heads.
I think the wording on that just needs to be reread.
Yeah, so if you do decide to make a motion for that, would you put that in your motion? That word needs to be changed, that leave needs to be changed to notice.
Anybody else have questions about it? Any clarification on it? I mean, you say that, but that can also be subject to supervisor's discretion. I mean, if someone has cancer, they can't come back and work.
Exactly, they can take their sick time.
So maybe we need to also put in that part being of supervisor's discretion.
Wouldn't that be the doctor's note? If you're that sick, have the doctor write the note.
Usually, yeah.
I mean, but I mean, I've got the flu, but then if they end up with COVID, you know, you're not gonna tell them to come in. So that's. It just doesn't.
That's the idea of the doctor's note.
Right,
This guy's got COVID, he can't come in for the next 2 weeks.
right.
That-
But then we
it's
can't-
covered.
But that doesn't say it on that specific, on the third section there. It doesn't say that on there. It just says they must work that last day. It doesn't say, you know, in continuance of a doctor's note or this or that or the other. So if we say that, we can't say that. We also have to put that stipulation.
Right.
You know, with supervisor's permission or a doctor's note being required. So I think you're getting into a legal issue there if you say they must work that last day. I mean, you can't say it.
Right.
What do you think, Steve?
Busy working on your contracts, I haven't been listening.
I think that's fine.
I think we just need to change it. Can you just bring it back next time? We'll just you'll have to put in there their last day of notice as well as that they must obtain supervisor's permission and a doctor's note for any other reason. Because they can get a doctor's note, so they have a sniffle nose and they don't want to come in, but they got COVID, they've got terminal disease, I don't know, whatever might happen. There's gonna be a catch-22 in it. Lost an appendage, they're probably not gonna come to work.
Sounds good.
Moving on to item H, executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss candidates for public work, open positions, and employee pay.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we go into executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss candidates for public work, open positions, and employee pay. Recommend 15-minute session to include mayor, council, city attorney, city administrator, and public works director.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Opposed? Motion carries.
There you go, my dear.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Got it.
I might be late.
Need a doctor's note.
Stay.
Is that you set all the fireworks last night after the game?
I went to sleep at 8:45.
My daughter did not like it at all.
I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so I didn't get to watch the game.
So I would just say, Danny's got a gear already, correct? Danny has a set gear already, correct?
Yeah. So that's kind of Jared's shadow, so she's got to give it back. Okay, it works.
Well, Jared did say he was over of his gear,
Yeah. I know.
which I hate doing that, because when it gets ruined, we tie it to that.
Yeah.
Keith, we would probably get him.
Yeah.
Make that, you're flexing it out, huh? Seeing it. Oh, okay. In that case, I'm thinking we're gonna look up the weeds.
I'm such a ray of sunshine.
Yeah, Cody, Keith, and Dan. And which now we have Keith.
Yeah.
That'll keep someone.
That's going away. Casey's going away. Yeah, staff now. I'm sure.
Enough?
Like 10
I
cents.
probably will never have enough.
No, no.
I'd like to hire one more. full-time. So, it'd be nice to feel like.
So anyway.
Yeah.
By the way.
There we go.
Unknowns. So.
Hey, you no longer have somebody to do, would you be willing to? Just fine.
It should have been as a little house, you could have it so.
Finally, all the boxes, find
Do it.
Yeah.
Still looking for.
What?
Danny's out there. Danny's wearing his shirt.
You got a break. I don't know. I got that was the whole thing. Like, if I screw up, if Johnny gave it to him, then it's there. That should not have been given away. She said, well, container flight.
So that's pretty good.
I learned in school, how to stand up there. School, we graduated, I was graduating, all the instructors. They gave me this list this long. One from said, you know, they'll teach you this. Nine times a year.
I literally just get to work together with the shop by.
You have to be more out of that?
Almost green. That's the fire we had. Saturday night, we had one in a 4-story apartment. The first floor. And it wasn't hot. She said, let's just try this. I put it out and she accepted it. Okay, she did some.
I'm ready to get ours in and keeps getting back on the delivery.
Candy started to buy.
So it's like mom sounded like he can do better than everybody else, but he couldn't.
Well, like, on labor,
UPS has had it.
UPS, their facilities have. Yeah, tell me what it's at. But it was really supposed to deliver in my company. Then they moved it to Monday and last to Tuesday, on Friday.
One behind me.
And I checked this morning.
It should show where it's at. Look at the traffic numbers, she just was. I said, it's business.
Well, cause I tried to call
Yeah, they don't answer your emails. And there's probably a bunch in there.
them. Oh, yeah, I was calling
Excuse me.
See, we just. Our delivery time is actually still pretty good.
I did well. I did well. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It was massive.
Yeah, that's why we decided to go.
You have any initially? It sucks because just so I set a class for again. I was like 4 minutes.
I didn't realize this. I was going to study so talking about how one of the reasons that there's so much of these guys laying their hoods in between their boots when they start.
I don't do that. I had another use.
I've been hanging
I hang mine up, so I hang the coat up. I hang my hoods, so hoods, and pants. Yeah, well, I was short.
I've never done that. I always laid like the hood itself in between my boots. Stop this.
So when I got new.
No, not, we.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't. We can make.
Just got 16.
Like,
why am I taking this test?
We're magnifying.
I didn't think it twice, but being out.
I didn't take it this test.
I got it. We should do it. So by the time the third set comes in rotation.
Well, we're gonna do that next morning.
So you'll have 2 sets a year.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was gonna take long.
That's really what we need.
So I wrote those.
I did that.
The problem is, all of our doors.
See, that's one thing.
I can study.
Unless it's past 8 p.m. then.
I can study all day, or the entire year. My year is actually ending.
Joys.
Oh. This stuff is. Honestly, no, these are 30. Wow. So they're gonna come, take a look at them and.
Just been going on. Yeah, they said they got somewhere at 30.
Oh, okay.
34 days.
Oh, okay. So that won't be an issue.
But that was just about. Well, we actually saved first.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were trying to.
Oh, give me some. Okay. I'm not recording.
That's the one that the city couldn't do.
Yeah, I can do that.
What? She didn't say sorry. So what are we doing? No, like,
Yeah.
we're having this coloring halls.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we had our
All in cup. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, the building, it was a.
Lakeside and
Yeah, yeah.
Lakeside too.
You should have orders. Well, that makes sense. And a tip. Maybe $2.
And then RV park.
I think I have.
You almost all grants are that way. It'll just give you the money. You have to show them what you're gonna spend on it. And when you say, I want this and this and this and this, and you give them money figures, they use that. Yeah, it's up to 50. You tell them, they're based on stuff.
All the lines here.
I just asked if you did you guys think you were?
Hopefully.
Oh, was it? Oh, I was making a joke. No, I was making a joke. I was like, I feel like we're still fun.
Yeah.
I still know my own. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You guys like have I still know mine.
I see.
We kind of narrowed it down. Well, he's not coming.
Oh, meeting back to work? Not yet.
You guys were quick today. I gave you extra time and you came quicker.
Call the meeting back to work.
Mr. Mayor, a motion would go into executive session for non-elected personnel to discuss candidates for public works opening positions and employee pay. Recommend 12-minute session to include mayor, council, city attorney, city administrator, and public works director.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Got it.
There's gotta be pizza in that room. Gotta be. And they're not sure. Who's got the number of Domino's? Never.
And they don't do it right.
Yeah, and.
Just enough, and you're good.
And I remember everything, like everything.
Everything is on and he did a clear 6
Yeah.
He's also back 60 hours.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What did you do inside?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, man.
Like, I'm parking.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. But everybody talked about doing the paper. So number one, we didn't have a fire space in it. Fire box, like 7.
You do, but.
It's just neat.
Those things, postage.
So they're gonna do something like for me.
I have buildings that went up. It's 12%, and the following year, it went up 7%.
Stand back.
Just postage. And, you know, it's not a ton of money, but when you see those
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
I mean,
So
you have your own frames.
The big one. So she did not.
Which way is the, that be a face?
I
Same way the other.
Oh, you did. Okay, yeah. So it's like press these ones, usually two stars all through to the side. Yeah, usually about that.
Where's your front one gonna face?
It's a huge wall. And it's
Or you are gonna situate the house not
there's
that.
different widths of
If I turn it this way, it faces towards the garage.
And so the width.
In my backyard, my backside goes to the lot.
And then
Keep it this way, it faces the garage. Have a nice backyard area. Come in, see the deer on the side.
Yeah. Process. I went from late, one of those pages. Should be.
That is pretty cool to look at.
I think it's a cool process. But yeah, I mean, I wish, is it, wait, were you gonna have this deal? I do. So you got everything back down, so I thought you were gonna. That's why. No way.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait, press the ship on the skill. They're walking me over.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
I was getting printed at Carson's.
And so I canceled
They've been this forever. They shut down.
I didn't know
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on down in Green Park.
They're like, okay, but this is where we set it.
Yeah, like, that was it.
Yeah.
I guess Nick was, well, I Nick and Greg was really, I said either go there or I could get to the job. Is he like me? Like, once he gets there.
That was like, we haven't talked about that.
I don't figure out the answer. It's crappy.
Takes 12 weeks back. If you slow that down on it.
Yeah, I'm checking control.
Clear it.
Before you ever find a way to do it like
And still have to open up. Not
it's
necessarily
much
one
smaller.
wall, but
You say
like.
500, I mean, it's not, but.
Maybe.
But you know what's funny? Oh, this one didn't know that. They were like, yeah. And that's what Taylor's saying.
Traffic on the west side.
They still use the glass.
So I was saying all that.
That's what I.
West and the overpass.
I was gonna say that was go right in.
So when they were over currency, you know, they had routes. And it
I
was
asked
stuck
them
out
if
there.
it has
It was pretty tight.
like
And I had Woody and.
Yeah, there was so much stuff on
And they're here
that.
now.
That's because.
And then it.
Yeah, right. And they're in. And I would, why? In my. And Woody goes, you gotta slow down, you're not gonna make it. Because Woody ain't calm.
You got
Rogers.
They kind of did a shit.
But it-
Like I told you first, on the right side, on the page on your left side.
I haven't yet.
Just make that rear marker just barely keep it up, don't make it just fine, because it, that's not a marker light. Just, every once in a while, you see that marker flicker a little. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Were you?
Especially.
Curious. So anyways, we were racing to see if we could get through it. Book it.
His heart was like, no.
Yeah, they're backing out of it. I got the truck. Just jacked out there as fast as they can. And not to the money stop. And just was from all they just comes whatever. He said the
Remember, I don't think that's what it is. I don't know. I just checked. I have the buffer respiratory renal system.
Dumb, he's trying to tear this trailer.
That's why it's something.
And then I did it.
It's like he is,
32 seconds.
greenhouse and everything in the house.
Yeah. And then of course when you're driving, you know, because he doesn't have a steering wheel, you feel a little over. The passenger, I was in a couple. They said that they're pretty sure that when I the way we were set up was really screwy. And so at the end of the side,
No, I think it is supposed to be
if it had been any other truck, I wouldn't use it.
So I pulled through that cone section pretty quick. And AJ, I mean, his jaw was on. He was angry. He's like, how did you just do that? We were pulling up on scene as engine one was dropping across the ground.
But
We were in the rest bar.
we, when they were going through my drive, you know, when I had me and Agent and Cece, and probably the whole season. So I'm trying to squat around our engine because he was still blowing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run engine one.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And we caught a call. So let's just go. And I just switched out and it was that area you're talking about where those word tires get out. I'm pretty sure I got air. And you know, Cece's over there just.
We walked slower that time, Karen.
Still got a little time.
We
You
mowed.
gave us plenty of time to get back.
Mhm.
Good idea.
Okay, you're good.
Call the meeting back to order.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we hire candidates for Public Works to include Nicholas Napier at $17 an hour, Fred Leastman at $16 an hour, and Paul Crocker at $16 an hour.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, with no further regular business, go on to go. Anybody comments? Vanessa?
I think we have to go back to our contract.
Mary, did you want to talk about?
I
did you want-
think
Sorry about
Steve
that.
has a whole bunch of issues with the contract you'd like me to address. So if you guys just want to skip that part, and I'll address it with Kelly and the company.
Table that.
And yeah.
Probably table it. I don't think I can let the council approve this contract the way it's written.
We'll table it till the next regular meeting.
Got 2.5 pages of notes and the short version. to look at, so.
Is
I
that
thought
for
you
the
were fast
USDA?
rider.
No.
What part is it?
That was for the golf, wasn't it?
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we table the discussion for the golf course till next meeting.
That's fine. I can give you a quick, there's several provisions in there, one of which they're not going to warranty their thing. No warranties, it's all disclaimed. You have to indemnify them if something happens, and they disclaim all liability under the contract. We're not going to enter into something like that. And you pay their attorney's fees, $9,000 for a 2-year term, $9,000 per year for 2 years, and you pay a fee of $2,500 for an onboarding fee up front. I don't necessarily, I think you can tell by my tone, I'm not very happy with the contract. I would not recommend we sign this contract.
A second.
So I'm just pointing out.
All those in favor?
Yeah. well,
Aye.
So,
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sounds good, Steve.
Moving on to, have anybody comments, Vanessa?
Well, it looks like we have a lot going on, and everybody at this office knows that there is a lot going on. But first, I want to thank everybody. You guys do a great job, all the employees. Keep up the good work. Keep us safe. You know, do what you do and do it better every day. Aside from that, it's a few nice days and a few cold days. So dress appropriately. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Take care of everybody else. Remember that Girard has a lot of amenities, and those are going to be coming open to the public once again. So use what you can, shop local, and just keep on trucking. That's all I have.
Thank you. Lucas?
I have no comments tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Bill?
I'd like to thank the employees for what they do for the city, the expertise that they bring to the table, their willingness to reach out and expand that. And just want to thank them. That's all I.
Daryl?
I really don't have a comment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and as far as my comment, I just want to, like I said, thank all the employees for what they do. Keep up the good work and stuff, and we've got a lot of projects going on. We need to take a breath and see what they are and just move forward. I want to thank everybody. That's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned. Also, I don't know if they told you earlier, we got the nursing students here that would like to.
yeah,
talk to-
I got to stay, so afterwards they can visit with you.
I didn't bring a coat. That's good for you. So.
I knew it was.
Yeah.